Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. Today we just kind of have like this weird thing. I know I've talked about a lot on my channel how I don't believe all electric vehicles are the way of the future, and you guys know that I love the Ford Power Boost and I actually love hybrid technology. It's super smart, and as we all know, all the manufacturers have recognized their plan to basically demotor the whole industry for in the next 15-20 years. That didn't happen. Everybody's cutting back their production of all electric vehicles now and focusing on hybrid. Toyota's bumping their Tundra up to 43% just on the truck side. Ram is changing theirs out, and then Ford is also bumping the Power Boost to almost 40% production of their F-150s. But we still have all of these things out here. Well, I just kind of came along this Lexus RX450e Direct 4, so it's all-wheel drive, and this is one expensive boat acre. Let's take a look at the sticker. All right, the color itself is really cool, iridium. We have the 2023 luxury all-wheel drive. We'll get to the outrageous cost of this thing here in a minute. Kind of hard to see here, but you got your Direct 4 regenerative braking, 20-inch wheels, ultrasonic suede interior, all the safety tech, that's neat. And the interface, Mark Levinson. And we cruise down here, guys. You have 95 combined miles per gallon, 196 mile range using a 240. So we're going to talk more about that here in just a second. So let's take an overall look at the outside of the vehicle. So we have some pretty sharp wheels. I do like the look of this car. This is a neat looking car. Some people will hate it, but I like the Chevy Avalanche. I like my Super Duty. I like the new Chevy. So I like interesting looking things. Now, this is a very interesting looking car. But this one, because this is not my car, this was a loaner, we only have the 110 outlet here. So to put it in comparison, on my way to the gym, this thing charged for almost 20 hours off the 110. When I got in the next morning, it was cold, which affects driving range. My commute to my gym is about 5 miles. It took 25 miles worth of range because I used the heater because it was cold. I used the heated seats, the heated steering wheel, and we're going to talk more about that here in just a second. Now, again, it was charging and charging and charging. They promised me that you would get about 10 miles of range for every hour. Well, we just saw on the window sticker, that means if you're using a 240 outlet. So we didn't have that. So we have the 110 included cord. So that's going to be the cord that you're going to pack with you when you go to, say, a rural town. So if I went out to eastern Colorado to visit my mother, which we do often, it's about 178 miles. So that means that's on the verge of this car running out of energy and not getting there. Then once they do get there, they don't have electric chargers in that town. So that means I'm relegated to using the 110 cord, which also means that car is not moving for the next 38 to 40 hours is what it takes roughly to charge this turd. So let's talk about how nice the car is. So you got a power lift gate, you got plenty of cargo room for being a small SUV. Power lift gate, remember that. All right, we come over here to the door. We have power actuated things. This is actually gray, not blue, but on camera it's going to show up. And then down below, when it's dark at night, you have little Lexus emblems, lit power emblems. And then inside here we have LED lights, more power, right? In the trunk, lots of big storage, so that's cool. This version of this car does not have a spare because these are run flat tires. So let's go ahead and use some power lift gate here. Shut that. Now, my wife is short, so plenty of room back here, plenty of headroom, sunroof right there, and pretty good materials. Everything's pretty much soft in here. They have this funky little door switch, which is fine. I don't really care. Some people are like, I'm really bothered by it, but if it was out of power, you can double release pull this back twice, it'll unlock the door. But it works a lot with their safety tech, so it's an electronic push button, right, to open it. We have our door unlock and stuff right there. We have heated seats in this version in the second row, plenty of charge ports. And remember, guys, with charge ports, That's power, right? Now, while we're talking power, let's talk about this right here. Lexus even says, make the most of every drive. As battery electric vehicles, RZ driving range, charge time will vary due to different factors. So here you go. Vehicle speed, where and how you drive, outside temperature, HVAC use, and charging habits. So if you use any of those charging ports in there, your range will shut down. If you use your HVAC or accessories, your drive time will be cut in half. Charging time is changed by starting battery level, outside temperature, HVAC, and accessory use. That means, guys, if it's too hot or it's too cold, your electric car is going to suck at charging also. So that's pretty cool. Now, I did try and download the app because when they loaned this to me, it only had 70 miles left. But I did charge it for about 15 hours. And like I said, that gave me about 30 miles of range. So with the 110 cord. But the minute I hopped in and fired it up, it took about 25 miles away in that 10-minute drive. So a lot of stuff going on there. Now you're wondering, there is the price of this, $1,150 for shipping and handling. A total before markups or discounts or whatever is $66,775. That's a lot of dinero, all right? Especially because you have to consider if it's going to take up to an hour to charge this fully with the Monster Level 3 charger, or 8 hours with the Level 2 chargers. Part of your road trip, part of your life, part of your thing now is sitting next to a charger charging this vehicle if you want to continue down the road. And that's going to be a bigger thing in just a second. Now, look at the front here. We have a lit LED Lexus symbol. I'm glad that that's there for no reason, so you can spend energy that you've been charging for the last 40 hours to light this emblem, because you obviously can't see, it's invisible. Underneath the hood is just a bunch of electronic motor stuff. There's no frunk or anything like that. So let's hop in and fire this thing up. All right, so you have the electrochromatic mirrors that change in the thing. Again, electric mirrors, right? Not just moving, but they change and dim with lights. You have your 360 cameras, which I will admit are pretty nice. And here again, everything's soft except for hard there. Nice fill-in doors. The steering wheel is the bomb. That is a nice fill-in material steering wheel. Power seats. Again, power seats, right? So you have a padded underneath version, no glove box in here. You have padded underneath here, so when you bang your knees on the steering wheel, that's not a bad deal. You hop in here. This is a camera that watches your attention and everything like that. Now, this car has technically been charging for almost 40 hours. Let's fire it up and see what our range is. All right. So there's the fancy thing. We have 186. So we're about 10 miles short of what, I'll turn that crap off, of what the actual range set is. Now, everything is off in this car except for that display and everything like that. So depending on your trim level, you'll add certain things in here. You can get a smaller screen in some trim levels. This is the more upgraded screen. If you're wondering, this is actually an LED in there. It's kind of sharp. It's just kind of a gimmicky. You have a wireless charger. These keypads are push and or just feel. So you can see up there on the dashboard as you scroll through them, you don't actually have to push the button, but you can. And then you can kind of switch the layout of those buttons as you will. Auto high beams. This one does have a HUD in it. The HUD in this car does take some of your electrical power. So what we have found is we have shut those things off to maximize our time, because I don't like sitting at a charger somewhere else for 30, 40 minutes while it charges to get, maybe a handful of miles. We've actually had this beautiful loaner while one of my Subarus is in the shop and at a Lexus dealership, and yeah, it's like you can't drive it anywhere. One cool thing is this uses like ions or something to change it, so you can actually kick a button and it goes clear. There's actual no shade. The shade is this phasing of the thing. So we're good there. So we are at 100, and we're not even going to move the car, guys. This thing is fast as a biscuit running down the road. I mean, it is fast, it's powerful, everything like that. But I'm going to put this in perspective, because if you're somebody that goes out there and sees like a Nissan Leaf And that car from out of the factory has a 70-mile range. I want you to understand that's about half. That's about half. No matter what. And I'll tell you why. Because everything in this car is electric luxury. If you want to use all the fancy things that it comes with, that's drawing on your power. So let's, just for grins, play funny, right? All right, guys, so we have 186. We're not moving the car. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just turn on the HVAC system, and we're going to set it to high. Now, this car itself doesn't have an engine that uses coolant that produces heat, right? So this right here is using the heat pump. Okay, so now we have only on the radio's off. We have selected high. It dropped 50 freaking miles, right? I'm going to turn on the heated steering wheel, and that's going to be on auto. And then I'm going to turn on the heated seats, and we're going to let this thing figure itself out, and then we'll also turn on the radio. Now, the other day when I was driving it, literally just using the wireless charging pad cut me 8 miles. So you just lost 50 miles. This thing's been charging for almost 40 hours. And you just lost 50 freaking miles. Now, we'll go ahead and turn up the heater, and we'll just kind of watch this thing as it adjusts. Now, granted, the headlights aren't on, your fog lights aren't on, nothing else is on. So if we started driving this, the stuff would just start disappear. If I had the HUD on, you'd lose power. If you were going to have kiddos, which love charging stuff in the back seat, you would lose that. So we can turn on the headlights real quick, and we'll see if the car itself adjusts to it. So it's kind of crazy, and this is where range anxiety comes. I just lost 50 miles, and now if the car started moving, it would lose more miles. So I'm now going to go ahead and shut off the HVAC system. I'm going to shut off the heated steering wheel and shut off the heated seat, because God knows in the middle of winter who would want to use that stuff, because we got to make sure we get to A and B. So make sure you bring your snow pants if you're going to be buying an all-electric car, because this car has a range of 196 miles. You can see after charging for 40 hours, it still wasn't there. It was only at 186. I turn on the heater because it's only 30 or 40 degrees here today, and I just lose 50 miles. So if my trip out to Ray was planned, that has now changed. Or that means I have to find a charger in between here and there and stop for a half hour. So spending time with my loved one is kind of irrelevant, because I got to stop and charge the car. So it's just kind of ridiculous. To me, I will never, ever buy a car. Now, the Lexus experience has been really nice, and this car is very nice, and that part makes me want to potentially look at a Lexus someday, although they are very expensive. But I will have a video coming up where the car enthusiast is going to take this thing for a drive. We're not going to do that drive with me, because I don't have the ability to actually charge this car for another 40 hours, because I'm hoping to get my Subaru back, because honestly, that car gets 35 miles a gallon, and on my way to the gym, I passed 0 charging stations, but I passed 10 gas stations going one way, and obviously the same ones coming back. So 20 opportunities that could have filled up in 2 minutes and have about 500 miles of range. And here, this little electric car, I drive it to and from, just trying to stay warm and whatever, and I couldn't. So, all right, guys, make sure you look down below. There will be a link to the car enthusiast taking this bad boy for a spin, because it is a very nice car. But if you don't need to go anywhere, then electric car is right up your alley, guys, because you'll not only save on gas, but you won't be moving too far. Again, guys, click the subscribe button, hit me with a thumbs up and a notification bell so you know when I'm posting new content, and we'll see you on the next one.